From the Voice of America in Washington, D.C., I'm Patsy Widakuswara. Welcome to The World is Watching. Tonight, we've invited 17 American voters, diaspora members of 12 countries, including Indonesia, China, Greece, Lithuania, Egypt, Somalia, Turkey, Nicaragua, Syria, Peru, Lebanon, and Cambodia. Some of them are leaning Trump, some leaning Clinton, and some undecided. They are by no means a scientific representation of the American electorate. They are selected simply because they are Americans who will be voting in November, who are also a part of the immigrant communities of this diverse country. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining Voice of America tonight. So we watched the debate together, and I will be asking them questions whether the debate has impacted their decision when they walk into the voting booth in November. But first, let me introduce VOA social media correspondent Sarah Zaman, who will fill us in on the conversations trending on social media. Sarah.
Thank you very much, Patsy. Voice of America viewers are spread all around the world, and even though most of them cannot vote in the U.S. presidential election, they are taking a lot of interest in the developments and sharing their views with us via Facebook and Twitter. I'm seeing a lot of very interesting comments, and I will keep sharing them with you throughout the show, starting in just a few minutes. But let us know what your thoughts are. Talk to us using the hashtag VOA Debates. For now, back to you, Patsy.
We'll be checking in with Sarah throughout the program, but for now, let's get started. Who won? Raise your hands up for Trump. Trump, we have 1, 2, Trump. Clinton? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, any ties? Any undecided? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is going to be a really interesting discussion. So let me first start by asking, which one of you, raise your hands, were undecided before you watched the debate? Raise your hands if you were undecided. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now keep your hands up if you've made up your mind. You're still undecided. Okay, you've made up your mind, sir. Can you tell me at what part of the debate that made you made up your mind?
Yeah, and I was most impressive things about this, as a first-generation American, I have goals that I need to meet in order to select a president, and one of those goals is healthy. And Travis and Clinton, actually, she clearly kind of clarifies, saying that she's going to improve whatever Obama is started. And another side, in Donald Trump, he doesn't exactly say what he's going to do about healthcare. And that's why I'm kind of leading to Hillary Clinton at this time.
So before you were undecided, and now you've decided for Clinton.
So, yes.
Okay, stay with me on that issue. But first, I want to get some thoughts from all of you about, just give me a word or a phrase about what you think about your candidate. So first, tell me about the candidate that you think won, and then why you think that person won. Just 1 or 2 sentences.
Well, I'm a supporter of Hillary, and I would have to say that, her statesmanship is the most obvious aspect of her presentation. And for that reason, it's very hard to really consider a candidate like Trump.
Okay, great. I think you are a Trump supporter, so give me 1 or 2 sentences.
Not exactly.
Okay.
But I don't come under undecided either. Mm-hmm. I don't root for either of them. I don't believe either of them. I have seen too many American elections and covered at least 3 of them. I don't believe any of them. That's one point. The second point is that there has been a nationwide media campaign to discredit Trump. Only by demonizing him, they think that they can shove Clinton down our throats.
That's a really interesting point.
Have their shortcomings. Both of them are not fit. Both of them have very serious issues. But the media hasn't been fair.
I'm going to pick up on your issue of believability and also trustworthiness. But obviously the biggest story this weekend, of course, was the leaked audio from 2005 where Donald Trump made vulgar comments about women and Hillary Clinton's leaked speeches to Wall Street published by WikiLeaks. There was some very intense back and forth on these issues during the debate. Let's take a listen.
I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is, because we've seen this throughout the campaign. We have seen him insult women. We've seen him rate women on their appearance, ranking them from 1 to 10. We've seen him embarrass women on TV and on Twitter.
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I apologize to my family. I apologize to the American people. Certainly I'm not proud of it. But this is locker room talk. You know, when we have a world where you have ISIS chopping off heads, where you have, and frankly, drowning people in steel cages, where you have wars and horrible, horrible sights all over, where you have so many bad things happening. This is like medieval times. We haven't seen anything like this, the carnage all over the world. And they look and they see. Can you imagine the people that are frankly doing...
Okay, so obviously this was the big issue. First, I want to hear from the women. What did you think about that?
I thought his excuse of using this as a locker room conversation was minimizing the issues that women face, not just in this country, but everywhere in the world. And the locker room is where the conversations begin. And if that's where the conversations are held in a disrespectful manner about a gender or a race, they will continue like that.
What do you think?
I agree. I really don't have much to say on it just because I'm so disgusted by it. I mean, it's really no excuse, and he kind of led it away to bigger issues in the world, which, yes, we should talk about, but it should be discussed and kind of shows who he is as a person.
Okay, so one more from you very quickly.
He discussed the fact that the boys are going to act the way boys act, but that's inexcusable action. As a man that's going to be representative of a nation where 1 in 5 college women get sexually harassed, oh, it's just locker room banter. It doesn't matter what it is. It's still disrespectful and inappropriate for anyone, especially a presidential candidate.
Hold your thoughts right there. I need to go to social media right now, but you know, obviously very passionate opinions here in the studio. I want to check to see with Sarah if there are the same kind of passion going online. Sarah.
Absolutely. I'm seeing a lot of very interesting comments, and one of them, the first one, actually does refer to the locker room talk that we have been talking about. Rita Aorbo says the world does not need a rapist. Now, I do want to clarify here, Donald Trump has not been convicted of any such crime, but Rita says, and I believe she is referring to those comments about that Trump made about women that recently surfaced, but she continues to say that the world needs a better leader that is able to address such crimes and injustices that Trump commits. She goes on to praise Hillary Clinton, and she says that Hillary actually right now is looking like somebody on the stage that the world needs. Then Ogema Simon, he thinks that Trump is the best. He says that Trump will restore strength and superiority and dignity to the United States. Holy Adefe says while Obama has killed thousands, Ogema Simon continues to say that while Obama has killed thousands of innocent people in Syria, Iraq, Somalia, Libya by creating ISIS, and he believes that Hillary Clinton will continue the same practices. So we do have a lot more feedback. We can take a look at some more comments. But I believe we're running out of time here for our social media segment. We will continue to some other feedback here. One last one I want to share is Kopi Tiamkini, who says, whoever wins the debate does not really matter. What is important is the candidate's track record and their vision for America. So that's some of the feedback that I thought I should share with all of you. There's a lot more coming up in the show, but for now, let's go back to Patsy.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Now, I want to go back to you because I can see that you really have an opinion here. I want to ask you, though, you know, this whole issue about the sex scandals, is it like distracting voters from the real issues?
Oh, yeah, it's a distraction from the real issues. I mean, the point I was going to make is that, number one, he didn't apologize to the woman about the comments he had made. And number two, he's not sorry about it. He's sorry that he got caught. That's what I feel.
I want to hear from some other men, yes, because this is an important issue, obviously, not just to women, but also to men. Go ahead, sir.
Well, we all are very disgusted by that so-called locker room talk. So if it's year 2008 or 2012, so I definitely will drop him, either vote for his vice president or vote for other side. However, this year is 2016. Many of us really think the country is at the crossroads. Where we're heading to? Are we heading to European style, kind of more of a close to a socialist direction? Or especially this year, we feel might be look at the demographics, might be the last year we have a chance to have a Republican president which balance it out.
So you're saying that even though he's making these very vulgar comments, it doesn't matter this year? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think it matters. However, we stuck between these two very unfavorable candidates. So this year is not selection of a state person, a nice guy or nice lady. This year really is a hard choice.
Thank you so much. Of course, this is an extraordinary election year. Stay with us on VOA The World is Watching. We'll be right back.
By 2008, social media had become an important tool for presidential campaigns. In fact, voters submitted questions for the candidates via YouTube.
Still on VOA's The World is Watching, presidential debates are opportunities not just for the American voters, but also people abroad to see where the candidates stand on issues. Today, however, both candidates suggested to one another that they should apologize for different reasons. And I think you saw the apologies coming from both candidates. I want to hear your thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Well, I think that there needs to be some dignity of the office, and I think that the way that one side has done it has been absolutely shameful. I think that both candidates went out there trying to convince their supporters why they should vote for them, but I don't really see that one side reached out to the people in the middle. They just basically stood their ground. They went out there to try and get the talking points out. We wasted about half an hour not discussing the issues that most Americans care about.
Okay. So we'll come back again to the discussion about apologies, which was obviously a big part of today's debate. And let's hear some clips from the debates about these two positions. Go ahead.
He never apologized to the distinguished federal judge who was born in Indiana. But Donald said he couldn't be trusted to be a judge because his parents were, quote, Mexican. He never apologized to the reporter that he mimicked and mocked on national television and our children were watching. And he never apologized for the racist lie that President Obama was not born in the United States of America. He owes the president an apology. He owes our country an apology. And he needs to take responsibility for his actions and his words.
Well, you owe the president an apology because, as you know very well, your campaign, Sidney Blumenthal, he's another real winner that you have. And he's the one that got this started along with your campaign manager. And they were on television just 2 weeks ago. She was saying exactly that. So you really owe him an apology. You're the one that sent the pictures around your campaign, sent the pictures around with President Obama in a certain garb. That was long before I was ever involved. So you actually owe an apology. And number two, Michelle Obama. I've gotten to see the commercials that they did on you. And I've gotten to see some of the most vicious commercials I've ever seen of Michelle Obama.
So again, the issues of apology, like I just want to get some feeling from you. Do you, as an immigrant, feel that these two candidates need to apologize to you? Yes, sir.
Right. One, I'm not an immigrant. But I'd like to know, why is questioning someone's birth certificate racist? He's never said, oh, because he's black, that's why I don't believe he's an American. There was never a question about that. But I understand and I hear that Hillary constantly goes, well, it was a racist statement. Okay. It's not a racist statement.
Okay, I think you have a thought on that.
Yeah, actually, I agree with him. And it's not a racial issue. You know, people have questions they want to ask. It's normal. Mm-hmm. And they don't have to apologize.
Is it normal, though? I mean, in a presidential election where, you know, the issue of birth certificate, that has never came up before in any other election. Anyone?
But also, the racist part has to do with the fact that Trump and others are saying that Obama is a Muslim. That's where the racist part comes. It doesn't have anything to do with his color of skin. It has to do with people thinking that he is a Muslim, and that's why he defends them.
Thank you so much. So now we go to Sarah to see what's really exciting happening online as well.
Thank you, Patsy. So one of the issues that's important to our viewers around the world is foreign policy. And we've been seeing a lot of feedback about that. Elijah Ogwuche, I'm going to start with him. He says, I would vote for Trump so that terrorism does not take over the world. Trump can work better with Russia to end terrorism. Let's look at another slide. Haroon Yousufi says Clinton's foreign policy is much better for the United States than Trump's. He doesn't give a reason, but that's his opinion. Let's take a look at one more. We have some other also commenting about just the foreign policy aspect. And even though a lot of these people can't vote, Mohammed Amin Afridi says, my vote will be for Clinton because Trump has lost the hearts of Muslim community. In each debate, he criticizes them. We also conducted a poll on Twitter. And the Twitter poll was just done basically to get a pulse on our community online, even though, like I said, a lot of people can't vote. But when we look at the results of who would you vote for, only 24% of the people said that they would vote for Trump, while 76% say they would vote for Hillary Clinton. By no means is this a scientific poll. 1,700 plus people took part in this. And so these were the results. But like I said, foreign policy is something that people are talking about. And even as I'm looking at some of the live comments that are coming in right now, this is a hot topic. Islamophobia is a big topic. Terrorism is a big topic. ISIS is a big topic. So I'm sure our focus group members also have a lot to say about that. So for now, I'm going to send it back to Patsy.
Thank you, Sarah. And foreign policy, I promise you we'll try to get to in the next segment. But for now, stay with us on VOA's The World is Watching.
United States history provides many examples of contentious political campaigns filled with innuendo and mudslinging, including personal insults. This is not the first, and likely not the last, rough and tumble presidential campaign.
So our audience are immigrants and members of diaspora of 12 countries. I want to go very quickly to one opinion before we go to the sound bites of the debate. I want to ask your opinion about foreign policy. Is this an important subject for you?
Absolutely. And along with foreign policy, immigration, for example, and let's take the example of Syria, right? A lot of countries are turning back on the refugees. For example, Trump said, why are we going to let these people in? It's going to be the great Trojan horse, right? Now, if we're going to keep thinking like that for the rest of our lives, we're going to turn our backs on everybody. Where's the humanity there? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I mean, look at France. France in this century alone has had over 16 terrorist attacks, and they're still willing to accept Syrian refugees.
So Syria refugees, I think I want to ask you specifically on this question. I know you were born and raised in Damascus. Go ahead, keep it brief, please.
So, okay. For me, I'm leaning with Secretary Clinton because she has at least clear vision of what she will do if she will get to be the president. But for Donald Trump, Mr. Trump is just keep putting fear in the people's heart that Syrian people are, just coming.
Yeah, how did that make you feel when he said that?
Oh, it's really upset me and upset my family, and especially, my family back home said, oh, really? There is no violence from Syrian in the United States, from any Syrian immigrant or refugee.
Okay. I see you shaking your head, sir. Do you have a different opinion on this matter? Are you supporting Trump's position on immigration and refugees?
Not exactly, but the problem again with the media bouncing on everything he says and fudging the real issue. The real issue here, neither Clinton, neither him are addressing, which is something called political Islam in all shapes and colors. We suffered that back home. America hasn't seen that much yet except for 9/11. So it doesn't help to sweep it under the carpet or being afraid of offending Muslims or being politically correct. There is a serious problem, and he's talking about it. Clinton is trying to avoid it. There is a very serious problem. Terrorism is existing now in how many countries because of political Islam? If you don't see this, then you are blind.
Thank you very much. I think that segues into our social media section. Do you think, Sarah, there's issues of terrorism and ISIS you mentioned is also brought up in social media? Go ahead.
Absolutely. Bouncing off of those issues, I have a comment from Ghulam Umar. He says, Hillary has killed millions of Muslims, that she will continue killing Muslims when she gets elected, so be careful who you vote for. I also have a couple of comments from Twitter. There is one comment from Prison Planet. He says Islamophobia is not an issue compared to Islamofascism. And last but not the least, one more comment from Twitter. Sikh professor says, I am not Muslim, but I teach Islam. It's a beautiful tradition that has given the world so much. We have to end Islamophobia now. So of course, like I said, Islamophobia being a big issue and also being sort of getting a lot of attention during this debate because of all the conversation about ISIS, Syrian refugees, and Muslims in general. For now, back to Patsy.
So I think Islamophobia is a really good segue for the topic that I want to discuss today, which is, all of us here are immigrants, diasporas, or descendants of immigrants. How do you feel about that issue, sir?
Well, I think a Muslim is a beautiful tradition, a great religion. I have a great respect for it. I just want to respond about the saying that Trump put fear in our heart. I mean, when we see the airplane flies into 9/11, when we see the San Bernardino shooting, I mean, the fear comes to us when we see those incidents. And
do you think that he is the candidate best to address those fears?
Yes, I think because he put the concept of radical Islam. Not all the, I think Islam is beautiful, but the radical Islam concept need to be there so we can deal with this kind of international terrorist situation.
So those are the comments from our audience today. Unfortunately, we don't have much time to get more comments from them and also more reaction. But, we thank you so much for joining Voice of America today. And don't forget to tune in on the next debate on October 19th. We will revisit these questions and more on these immigrant communities. For now, I'm Patsy Widakuswara. On behalf of everyone here at Voice of America, thank you and see you next time.